Welcome on in. It's going to be some more Pokemon TCG Pocket. This is going to be analyzing the tourney scene. Of course, that's what we do around here, so please like and subscribe if that's your thing. Ursiiday's Pocket Weekly number 8 is where this footage comes from, and I do have to warn you right off the bat, it's going to be very obvious. The footage is extremely archaic looking. Like, dude, it looks like the competitor streaming this is, I mean, I guess we have to say the names. It's NinoLeo, unless it's NinoLeo. I guess I'm going to say NinoLeo. But NinoLeo, dude must have been streaming this in like 144p. Like you're gonna see, it's basically about this quality all around. So I'm gonna try to sharpen the image and whatever, but there's only so much I can do, right, to repair it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be the player on the bottom half is NinoLeo. They're coming to us from Italy, and Manaa, unless of course it's Manaa, but Manaa up there on the top, registered with Japan, at least on Limitless TCG. And so right now we're here in turn 2, so obviously someone's gonna get to put down some energy, and that would be NinoLeo. Set up with Hitmonlee in the active spot, but against somebody who doesn't have any bench Pokemon. So that is kind of your first observation that's gonna be clearly obvious, but you have to wonder, is Manaa doing this from the fact that Hitmonlee is in the active spot? Like, is it a purposeful choice, or is it just that they literally do not have a basic Pokemon to place down there? So Mew EX, you gotta love the golden, I mean, this amazing card right here, just incredible. So we are looking at like kind of a hybrid once again. Like the last video that was uploaded on this channel, I know people have been asking about the new metas that are unfolding and whatnot, and this one is pretty good. It's just kind of interesting. So again, aside from the stream quality, which again, you know, I'm trying to do everything I can to help it out, but it's not even Ursiiday that's to blame, right? Like, she puts on a tournament weekly, as is implied by the name Ursiiday's Pocket Weekly, but this being her 8th tournament too, it's not like her first rodeo. It's just that she has to kind of rely on the competitors and their stream quality, whether they're mirroring or whether they're streaming themselves, you know, just she gets it through a variety of ways to get the footage onto her screen. But yeah, like I was saying, it is sort of that hybrid of like genetic apex a little bit, because we are seeing on the top half, and we actually, I think once on this channel lately in recent times since Mythical Island, we have seen an Arcanine EX kind of led deck, you could say, with Moltres EX, you know, and that's kind of how you should do it. You also have the Mew EX in there though, and so that is kind of with that genome hacking, being able to copy whoever you may have coming at you, right? Because you might go up against that Mewtwo EX meta, something from kind of the older days, and Mew EX can step to that. It can step even to another Arcanine. The thing is, you are going to take the recoil damage if you step up to an Arcanine with Mew EX, so, you know, it literally copies that move. It's just like, say you're copying Mewtwo's side drive, you don't have to discard the energy unless it is actually psychic, so it comes, you know, quite in handy. But hey, we're seeing what's going to unfold though, possibly on the bottom half. You support this Hitmonlee, you see Graveler down there on the bench. That's kind of the idea, is that Graveler hopefully will evolve to Golem, and it's all about the guard press at that point. 120 damage, but also if Golem gets off that guard press, not just crazy damage for 4 energy, I mean 4 energy is kind of a lot, but during the opponent's next turn, then Golem takes 30 less damage, so it's minus 30 from attacks. So it's pretty crazy, it's pretty cool. So we're hoping to see Golem, of course, come out to play in this tournament right now. Druddigon has been something we've been seeing in a lot of decks too. Look at that, gonna be 3 coins right now for that Inferno Dance. That was for the side of Manaa there on the top half. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be plenty of energy for that Arcanine EX when it decides to show up. So looking pretty solid there. I mean, both of these competitors are kind of gearing up for something, but clearly Manaa having that energy advantage. And so we will see obviously how it unfolds. It's just, you got to think of it from a standpoint where usually when Druddigon is in play, it's kind of just that staller. It's just that like tank to be there in the active spot and use the rough skin ability. And so sometimes I do just go over these basics at least early on in the video, just in case somebody hasn't been around the TCG, hasn't been around TCG Pocket, anything like that, you know, anything of the sort, just to address. So again, here we go. It does look like Druddigon will now enter that active spot where it should be. The one thing is that you do need to know, of course, their deck down there for NinoLeo, I've put the deck list on the right side of the screen. They do have 2 of the Leaf, right? The Leaf Trainer card, and so that will reduce the retreat cost by 2 energy. And so that's really nice, but especially kind of needed for a Druddigon, right? Because you don't really want to be placing your energy on that. Like 2 energy, it's not 1. So, you know, a lot of Pokemon that are kind of like previous previous, perhaps tankers, stallers, and stuff like that, they also had higher retreat costs, but it was always nice when one maybe just had 1 energy as the retreat cost. You could even use an X speed or something like that and essentially have no retreat cost. But yeah, having that too, it does very much help if you have Leaf, and it does look like we're going to see the rough skin take place right here. Use that ability, of course, when you're attacked. That rough skin will do 20 damage back to the attacking Pokemon, which in this case is Moltres EX. You gotta love that alt art right there. It is amazing. This match I definitely can see just when you think about trying to gear up for Golem. It's gonna need that 4 energy, but having that Moltres EX in that deck up above for Manaa, that's another one where, yeah, we're trying to generate enough energy. It's just obviously Moltres with the Inferno Dance. If you get the coins right, then hey, your Growlithe, for example, right there has the 4. The point is, though, of the statement is just that while we do see Golem hitting the bench now, which is a welcome sight, you just have to think this is going to be kind of a lot of stalling, a lot of waiting. You know, each of these players is going to have to kind of posture around and then figure out like, okay, when is the right time to retreat? Obviously, all things need to be set up. You got to have that energy to be able to attack. But here in the case of Druddigon, for example, it's great to just stall and okay, we're going to get a backup Geodude right here on the bench. And so that's looking good for NinoLeo. It's just, you got to be able to hope that you can at least get these attacks in before the Arcanine comes into play. So Arcanine EX, though, will have enough energy, be able to do that Inferno onrush for 120. So when you compare these two Pokemon, and it's just in TCG, we're obviously not talking about real-life Pokemon because the super effectiveness would go in Golem's case, but even in here in the TCG Pocket, you got to think Golem doing 120 damage is nice. Then it also resists any incoming damage in the next turn, but Arcanine EX is an EX card. It will do that same damage, 120 for 1 less energy, but it's going to take damage from the Inferno onrush. So remember, it'll take 20 damage. It does 20 damage to itself. So when you consider that it's an EX and Golem isn't even an EX card, that's kind of the ace in the hole, right? Is like, yeah, it did take us a long time. Golem is 3 stages, right? So Arcanine, just that one extra card to evolve. It's a stage 1 evolution. These are all things to kind of consider, right? And so like a lot of them balance each other out, but I would like to clearly think that Golem at 160, I mean, Arcanine EX at 150 HP, so their HPs kind of favor for Golem. It's like, even when you think like 1 point here for Golem, 1 point here for Arcanine EX, when you weigh the pros and cons, it does come out, I think, a little bit more in Golem's favor. It's just obviously, this is what I like, because it's like, I think up until now, a lot of people's criticism of Pocket was, and probably valid, of course, it's just that, oh, the meta is not really all that great, because it's like all we were seeing before was Pikachu EX and Mewtwo EX decks, but it was really just coming down to like, who goes second, who has a better hand on drawing, and then like who flips coins better, you know, like who gets more heads. So it was like very much luck based. It was very much luck of the hand draw as well. So kind of a lot of luck based factors. And so at least this, like, I do like that there's some thought coming into now. And again, you know, it's let's just call it thought light, LITE, because of course, you know, it's still streamlined in Pocket style, but some people like myself kind of prefer this. I do like this like more streamlined version of the TCG. But ladies and gentlemen, right now we do have that Moltres EX double time in it, because of course there was one that was retreated back from Manaa's side, and they're able to charge up Mew EX as well. So it's kind of, again, I use that word posturing, that's like really what we're seeing right now, because it's like there's going to be so much waiting for someone to just like make that first move, right? Because yeah, they could retreat Druddigon or something if they get the Leaf down here on NinoLeo's side, but then Golem, you know, like it will be kind of the aggressor, but then there's going to be another Pokemon that will be the aggressor against the Golem. And so they're kind of like thinking, well, what do I trade off here? Because the same goes for the other way around. Let's say that Manaa is kind of the one that's going to like be the main aggressor. They send in Arcanine EX. They're going to take their own damage, right? You know, from the Inferno onrush, they'll take the recoil, but they may not even OHKO some of these if it's a Golem, for example, that goes out there. But aside from that, you know, you'll get just 1 prize pack, whereas the trade-off would be 2 prize packs from the EX going down. So here it is. There we go. We're finally going to see something. NinoLeo, thank you. You're going to go with the Leaf, but they will. This is how they're going to create the pressure. And so this is what we like. Actually, also from the last video that was uploaded on this channel, it was using Greninja. And so the Greninja Gyarados EX deck, if you guys have seen that around, Greninja will create the pressure. So it is nice to have something like Hitmonlee that will start baiting your opponent to get a card in here in the active spot. So then you can switch to your Golem, for example, if you're a NinoLeo. And so we'll see, Hitmonlee gonna just be doing this stretch kick. And I've always liked Hitmonlee. I've always kind of had a bias towards Hitmonlee, just even in the days of old in the physical TCG. But the attack does 30 damage to one of the Pokemon on the bench. It has to be on the bench. So just in case anybody didn't know, it cannot be that active spot. So right now, Moltres EX, they are going to give it that energy right here. It takes 2 to retreat, but what they're looking for is that Inferno Dance. You want to prepare all of these Pokemon, right? So if they get heads right here in any number, any fashion, Mew EX, I think, does need 1 more energy, right, you guys, for the genome hacking, but essentially you want to get a Pokemon at least to where they can attack with just 1 more energy placed down from your natural turn order. See how they put it on Moltres EX. That's eventually what I was going to get to, is that you want to have Moltres EX there on the bench set up for Heat Blast. So any of those Pokemon on the bench right now could attack, and what I mean by your natural turn orders energy is just the energy that you get to place on when it's your turn, right? Everybody gets to place on 1 energy in their turn just naturally. And so the Mew EX, for example, would be able to do the genome hacking with that extra energy. And so here we go. It looks like it's going to be another stretch kick as NinoLeo just says, hey, I can do this all day, right? Captain America. So they're just going to put on energy, and they got 1 on the Graveler. So exactly as I said before, right? That Golem still is sans 1 energy to attack, but it's because you could put it in and then place that energy there if you would like to. If you don't need it for the retreat cost, generally you don't, because you're thinking, I've got X speed, I've got Leaf, in this case. And so that's kind of what you're looking at. So we'll see, again, somebody's got to make another move after. I like that NinoLeo has made the move to put Hitmonlee in here, but this is where it gets a little dicey, right? Is that now you're seeing Moltres EX on Manaa's side here in the active spot. It just needs 1 more energy after this. So next turn, it could potentially Heat Blast. Now that'll just do 70, unless there's a Giovanni played, and they do have 2 Geos in that deck. And so with the deck list there, you guys can see it, right? So they will go ahead and Pokeball, I guess, prepare with another Growlithe for the bench right here. And wow, okay, so they're going to red card right now. It does, you have to think, will red card kind of give my opponent the card that they're looking for, right? And so what NinoLeo likely is looking for is a Golem, because they want to have another Golem right there. Now they could also get the Marshadow and stuff, but Manaa would have to wonder, is that really going to come to play? Hey, you could get an RKO out of nowhere. Marshadow's thing is all about revenge, and so it does look like, of course, they're going to Inferno Dance it right here, and then we're going on, and you're seeing that Brock is now in the picture as well, and that's wonderful for the Golem deck, because obviously it applies to either Golem or Onyx. Now you just take a fighting energy essentially from blank, from the energy zone, and you can put it on the Golem or the Onyx, but most people, at least that I've seen, are not playing an Onyx deck, and so that's why it's nice to have a Brock just kind of in your back pocket. So it does look like they will go ahead and play that, so I'm wondering, are they going to make the move? NinoLeo, are you doing this? Because yeah, Hitmonlee. Okay, I was gonna say it's just that 1 retreat cost, so are we gonna see Golem? But no, they put in Druddigon right here once again. So we've got Druddigon and now a fully powered Golem on one side, and you've got a Graveler that's getting set up on the other, and now Marshadow is drawn. So I feel like NinoLeo's got this really set up nicely, but you gotta hand it to Manaa as well. They're both just kind of, oh gosh, I'm just gonna be repeating myself until something happens, aren't I? But they just both got it kind of all where their Pokemon are stacked. The energy, though, is favoring Manaa, whereas the damage and just kind of the overall prize point allocation, that's kind of favoring NinoLeo. And so, hey, we're going to see it, though. Moltres EX here in the active spot for Manaa does have enough energy, though, to get off that Heat Blast. And so there it is. Here we go. We're finally seeing something else happen instead of just kind of this stalling. But yep, that will mean that, of course, the Rough Skin is going to deal the damage back. There is 1 point on the board, though, finally for somebody, and that is Manaa. And now you're going to see NinoLeo do their thing. And hey, they drew a Giovanni too. Not that they need it with this Golem, right? But right now, Golem is ready. So we'll see. Probably, it's very likely that Guard Press is coming through. And so once again, once Guard Press goes through, 120 damage. It will get the Oko on this Moltres right now, on the EX, of course. And then it's going to be resisting 30 damage from whatever the next attack will be. So honestly, now looking good for NinoLeo. They will go ahead, put down another Druddigon right here for the bench, and so they can just do this dance all day, like I said earlier, man. So Yeah, that is what we're seeing, and now NinoLeo will have an extra energy on this Golem in case it needs to retreat. That's going to be coming in handy, but there you go. It's that guard press. Boom! It's going to knock out this Moltres EX essentially in the OHKO, and this was like an RKO out of nowhere because that really was the revenge KO. Hey, you're going to take out my Druddigon, you're going to take the damage that allows me to get that OHKO off right here, and then it's the RKO out of nowhere, but hey, was it really out of nowhere? I feel like we all saw that one coming, but here it is. It looks like Mew EX. They will put down the potion. Okay, so they have another one. I was just about to be very baffled. Now, you gotta wonder, are they gonna use the Giovanni down on NinoLeo's side? Because they do have one in the deck, and didn't we see it get drawn, actually? But, ladies and gentlemen, Mew EX. Remember, it's got the genome hacking, and so it will not be able to one-hit KO Golem, but it could potentially do the damage and then get that protection, but it all comes down to just who's going to make that move. I mean, it is hilarious. But no, it looks like that will actually be the concession. I think they did the math in their head. We were getting to it too, but yeah, I think they were upset. There it goes. Manaa is going to concede. And so that gives NinoLeo game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, in this best of 3 to see who's going to win Ursiiday's Pocket Weekly number 8. And so we'll get this game 2 for you as soon as we can here. Just want to give the reminder to you guys to subscribe only if it's your thing. I'm not trying to force anybody to, subscribe in any way, unless this is the kind of thing that you like. Somebody who probably talks way too much, but looking at the top cut of tournaments. That's always what we're looking. We're looking essentially, though, for top 8 and above, top 4, and the finals. And so it does seem that they turned on the stream a little bit late, I guess. They turned on the camera, quote unquote, here in the middle a little bit late, but it's okay. We didn't really miss too much. It does look like, though, NinoLeo is set up with a lot of Pokemon here in the active. You got the 2 on the bench right now. So Druddigon, I'm assuming that since this is turn 3 and Ursiiday, I guess, didn't turn it on soon enough, maybe the one thing that we did miss was you have to wonder, was Druddigon then pulled later? Would you have put that in the active spot first instead of Hitmonlee if you had it? If you had both of them? And so that is the question. But Hitmonlee now can maybe start chipping away at that Mew EX. You have to wonder, though, does Manaa kind of anticipate this, right? Because that stretch kick, you can hit it on the bench. And I mean, honestly, that 30 damage to me is nothing to sneeze at when you can just attack directly across to the bench like that. But here we go. It looks like Graveler is drawn right now. So very nice for NinoLeo. That's what they're looking for. Just get this Golem and get it stacked up and ready to go, because you want that threat essentially there. And if you can get a little bit of damage on this Moltres EX, that would be nice, of course, like last time. So likely they'll be getting that damage in on the Mew EX to get an OHKO a little bit later on. And then after a little bit of damage is done, maybe switch out and put Druddigon in. And so I'm sure that that's what they're probably going to look for, at least, I should say. And so here goes Growlithe, it looks like. And so Manaa going to be wanting to try to get to Arcanine as fast as possible, Arcanine EX, because now Mew EX is already taking the damage, right? And so maybe NinoLeo could also, I try not to predict too much in the future, but one thing they can also do is be hitting the Growlithe a little bit as well. So you're going to see only 1 energy, and there's Golem right now. So nice, that's going to be there, and it's ready. Go ahead and evolve it, right? Because if it's on the bench, it's like, hey, that you're not going to get red carded. Last game, they actually did see that Manaa red carded NinoLeo, and so you can tell, hey, Golem is now safe, right? It's out here. Doesn't have enough energy, but that's all right. That's all right now. You're still at the early stages. It's not like Manaa is going to do a heat blast right now. You'd have to be counting on the Sabrina, and then you'd still just send in Druddigon if you're NinoLeo. So really, that Golem is behind a wall of protection right now of these fighters. And hey, look at that. You got Brock, so start that energy going right here. Look at that Golem with 3 energy already. Pretty early on in this matchup, I'd say. But again, they can hit Mew EX. They can also, I would think, especially if Arcanine EX comes into the picture, you could consider chipping away at that too. But Golem, you would only need 1 Hitmonlee attack on the Arcanine EX because it has 150 HP. And so bar a potion being used, a Golem would 1-hit KO the Arcanine after that, So after that, stretch kick hits it 1 time. So here it is, the amazing full art Arcanine EX. Love that card right here. I love all of those full arts and alt arts, so oh my gosh, can't even speak. But here we go. It looks like another coin toss is going to be going down for Inferno Dance. I'm going to see how much energy they can get. Last time it was a little bit low, so they are looking for more heads this time. Just one Tails the Fox makes up 1/3 of Team Sonic, right? You guys, I just saw Sonic 3 last week, and so loved it. Stick around for the credits if you go see it. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, looks like maybe, yep, another Druddigon. Gonna hit the bench right here for NinoLeo, so they are very well protected at this point. Gonna have plenty of Druddigon if they need to do that. So they will go ahead and retreat at least a 1. No? Okay, are we gonna backtrack that? You saw NinoLeo gearing up for that retreat and then ultimately did not do it, so I guess they're contemplating, should I stretch kick as well on here? But you gotta be aware that you will be able to get Heat Blasted next if Moltres EX opts to do that, if Manaa opts to do that with Moltres EX, that is. But yeah, you guys, I mean, I don't know if this is gonna be coming into more prevalence, you know, after that tournament happened and stuff. Ursiiday was making videos about that Golem, and so you have to wonder, is it gonna be, you know, more relevant in the tourney scene after this? Because I just give props to NinoLeo for going with it, you know. I personally, I don't get to watch every tournament for you guys, but like, you know, my life is insane, but I watch tournaments that I can't record ultimately, you know, for whatever reason too, because sometimes these tournaments go on for 8, 10 hours, you know, even like some of them, I'm not saying all of them, but like even 5 hours is a lot for my day, you guys. 4 hours, like I just, it can take a lot for me. And so sometimes I'm watching a tournament and it unfortunately doesn't get to the finals by the time I have to, you know, go pick up my son from school or whatever it may be. You know, I may have an appointment for something, but all right, let's see it. It's the stare down once again with Druddigon right here for NinoLeo, and then Manaa just waiting there with the Moltres EX. You know, what do? So you can Heat Blast. Of course, you're going to take the damage from it. You can also just start building up what's on your bench still, or continue building up, we should say, with the Inferno Dance. These are kind of you're at that impasse, you know, and when do you retreat and try to make that move? Because of course, if you Inferno Onrush, not only are you going to take the damage from recoil, but also from the rough skin. It is brutal. So really, this Golem was like this deck with the Druddigon and the Golem, and then having Hitmonlee, like it is very much set up, I think, to go against this Arcanine EX. So we will see if Manaa, you know, wins this match against them. These, I should say, especially when a game is recorded kind of after the tournament's already been over, like in this case, like from a VOD, I have not seen the whole thing because I usually just press record and then I go try to walk away or do some work with my head down. I really try to watch these in real time with you guys. Sometimes I do know the end results though, of like who wins and who loses. I do want to try to build up a little bit of mystery, but yeah, that will be the move made from NinoLeo. We'll go with the Golem and go ahead and get those 2 prize points that come from knocking out an EX. But hey, it kind of doesn't matter at this point in the respect that you're going to send another EX against them. But I mean, really, even if it was just one or not, that Arcanine, I don't think it's going to be able to withstand, right? You know, it won't get the Oko because it's 120 damage, but Arcanine really not set up to do this. And so we'll see what Manaa's thinking. I don't know. They don't have a lot of options left though. You know, Moltres is out of there and there's 2 Arcanine EX cards just in play, and you're going to see there's the Inferno Onrush. It's going to take the recoil, and I don't really know what's left. There's not really choices, like we said, and the Giovanni. Okay, that's it. That is the game. So NinoLeo is going to be your champion right here, seizing the moment. There's no time to concede or anything like that. Nope, we're just going to get it. 130 damage right there to take down that Arcanine EX, and that makes NinoLeo your champion right here for Ursiiday's Pocket Weekly number 8. You guys, this is crazy. A Golem deck taking the victory and climbing through the ranks. It's insane. I mean, this tournament was 1,500 plus players, like 1,529, something like that. And so please feel free to look at the standings right here, and I do have a link to this. You guys can feel free to request if you see a match that like would look interesting in here, but it's not always guaranteed that they were recorded or spectated or whatever. So just know that. But hey, feel free to also click an end screen on screen to see another episode, and thanks for viewing.